Got ourselves another NBA slate, and because it's the All-Star break and NBA players, they're just like us. A lot of guys might be taking the day off today. They might be phoning it in an impossible amount of Q tags. I think technically over 60 Q tags on today's slate. We're going to do what we always do here on @SplashPlayNBA. We're going to dig in onto my projections, see how they compare. One of the industry leaders in that out there in Stokastic. We'll see what the ownership projections say as well. Of course, we'll hop to the world of Unabated, see what the best bets are for today's slate. It's February 10th, 2025. Let's get into the day after the Super Bowl. The area is bustling. My kid is off of daycare on Friday because they're going to the parade, so it's fucking awful here. But big win by the Eagles, ass kicking for the Eagles there. Got a lot of stuff right on the NFL content, so let's try to keep some momentum going here. If you got your winnings from NFL over the weekend, we're going to roll it over the NBA today. Shout out Joseph Spags, the definition of eye candy, just saying thank you, Joseph. I appreciate that. Ooh, this is me being a beautiful lady. Chameleon Eyes, Bobby Portis, that's at UFL Best Ball. Yeah, that's what I do best. What it do indeed. And what up, Spag? Appreciate Jake being here. Appreciate all you guys hanging out. And smash that like button when you come in, and let's get into it here. Your Q tags on the day. As I mentioned, they're quite literally over 60 today. If you control F, the NBA injury report, I think it might be now 65 or so. Some of these guys, there's a lot of them. Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Tyler Hero, Damian Lillard, Michael Porter Jr., Jeremy Grant, Mike Conley, Max Strus, D'Angelo Russell, PJ Washington, Josh Green, Musa Diabate, Keyshawn George, Nick Smith, Max Christie, doubtful Jalen Suggs. He's been doubtful in every single game for like a month. But that's Jalen Suggs again. Really, everything that I'm going to talk about today, entirely possible, is going to change because of the fact there's so many Q-tag guys. They're going to be missing today. Some of the guys that are already out that we know, CJ McCollum out. Mark Williams, broken heart from not getting to be a part of a Lakers dynasty. He's back to Charlotte now, but he's not playing. Don't connect. We'll play, though, for the Lakers tonight in a game that's on FanDuel and the draft and the Underdog slate, not on the DraftKings main slate. There are more that matter that we'll get to today. That's how it looks right now. There's a lot of Q tags. That's going to be the case, I think, this entire week because the All-Star break is coming up. All-Star break, I believe, is on Friday. So we get a monster slate on Wednesday, a less monster slate on Thursday. And then Friday, we're off for like a week here on the channel. And, of course, no NBA besides the All-Star stuff. So keep that in mind coming up. Your top pick, guys, for this slate right now, Nikola Jokic, number one. You have another slate once again with no Russell Westbrook on this one, no Peyton Watson. All that stuff makes Nikola Jokic's rates go up a little bit more. The situation today, you could also be getting no Aaron Gordon, or not Aaron Gordon, sorry. No Michael Porter Jr. Everybody else should be good to go, including Aaron Gordon, who I do get a lot of for the Nuggets as well. But Nikola Jokic, very high price at 12.7. Value not as clearly defined yet. There is some value, but not really like a 3K must-have kind of guy. So Nikola Jokic looks pretty good to me at 66 fantasy points. Stokastic has him at 63. Despite that high projection for him, I only have him in 9% of my lineups. The field's at 4%. Damian Lillard, $9,200 salary. No Giannis. Giannis out until after the All-Star break, so he does get a pretty big rate boost overall. I'm going to try to kind of make some good time in this video because we have a lot of games today, a lot of players to talk about, but do you think it's worth talking about the Milwaukee guys a little more depth? Damian Lillard averages just shy of 1.5 fantasy points a minute in court time without Giannis and Chris Middleton this year. And that's about 1,000 possessions. So very much the safe zone of sample size. So Lillard, to me, questionable, was a midday downgrade to questionable. If he doesn't play, Ryan Rollins, your potential mega chalk on the slate again at 3,500. Lillard does play. He and Portis both look great. But Lillard right now, I think, would be a top play for me. About 27% of the field will play him if he's going to be available today. I got him at 37%. Lillard, the upside is huge. No Giannis. He is smashed every time. Has been the case. But yes, 44 minutes is a lot yesterday. So Lillard not playing would certainly make sense, especially with the hamstring thing. LaMelo Ball, I'm getting 7% right now in my top 150 lineups compared to the field's 3%. Basically, for the Charlotte Hornets, who are getting to a fairly depleted team at this point, still enough rotational guys that I don't think LaMelo is a big stand here, but worth more than the field's exposure. Am I on Bridges today? Not Charles Bassey. I want Charlotte. I'm less on Bridges today than usual because of some of the guys that they have available right now. If some guys get ruled out, though, I would think that LaMelo Bridges would be a pretty appealing play against a Brooklyn team that does play slow but is not very good overall. So, yeah, LaMelo Ball, not a priority play, but can become more of a priority play if you get some more Hornets out. Domantas Sabonis, Victor Wembanyama. Wemby, I'm not getting at all. Wemby, the rates have fallen enough with the Aaron Fox out there. I gave the Spurs today their same rates basically that they've had since trading for Fox and playing him on the regular basis. For the Spurs, it's been De'Aaron Fox with 1.2 fantasy points a minute. Wemby, the respectable 1.44, but 27% usage, 15% assist rate, 19% rebound rate. The rebound rate's up a little bit, but everything else is down enough that Wemby, the rates could stabilize, Wemby get more usage, but I don't think Fox is good for Wemby's usage. I also don't think Stephon Castle becoming a gunner off the bench is good for Wemby's usage. Castle's averaged 29% usage rate and 1.1 fantasy points a minute since the trade as well. Basically, his role shifting around where he's not a defensive stopper in the first unit. Now he's coming in as kind of your heater off the bench. It's all making for Wemby getting a few less shots. So I think for Wemby, the field's going to be there a good amount. I get it. I could be wrong here, but it's a small sample size kind of approach on things for a team that just added De'Aaron Fox. But I think Fox is going to take a pretty big piece moving forward. And for Wemby at 11K, not crazy about the play and not getting him in my top 150. MPJ said he could have played, just didn't need him, especially with no KD. Sure. I mean, look, we'll see it. Again, it's because it's the All-Star break. Guys could sit out. You could take this extra game, get, one more little bit of rest heading in. I don't know. There's enough. And also everybody plays on Wednesday for the most part as well. There's a lot of reasons guys can not play tonight and maybe even still play Wednesday. And a lot of guys too might not just play again because that's sort of how that goes as well. There's a lot hanging over the Q tags on the slate. Domantas Sabonis getting him at 13%. Pretty big rate boost overall so far of the new look Kings. So I'm willing to go to Sabonis 9,600. Have him pretty similarly projected to Wembanyama, only about 0.7 fantasy points less. Anthony Edwards didn't play over the weekend. You saw Alexander Walker and Dillingham starting, I believe it was. Really focused on the Super Bowl this weekend, so I tried to pay attention to NBA, but didn't capture as much for the weekend. Had to catch up as much as I could today. For Anthony Edwards, though, in that spot, Alexander Walker went off. I think Dillingham had a down day for the most part. So for Edwards, if he is in, he looks like a really strong play. He has gotten a pretty big rate boost from not having Randall and DiVincenzo out there. If Edwards is out, you're opening up a little bit more semi-value, taking another shot at Dillingham. Alexander Walker is entirely unplayable. The salary coming up from the game over the weekend. Now you're also talking about him being in play at a $4,900 salary and shooting guard small forward as well. So really the T-Wolves would look like a different team if Edwards are out. Everybody's a better play. Matchup's still a tough one, though, going against Cleveland. It's your first game of the slate, so you'll know that one with enough advanced time. But Anthony Edwards, if he plays, good play here. And Cleveland, too, for what it's worth, really got their ass kicked by Jordan Poole, which we're going to talk about more in a moment. We get to Jordan Poole. Was really impressed by Jordan Poole in that game, but kind of a similar player in Anthony Edwards. I really feel like Cleveland should be able to stop those guys and was kind of surprised how much they did need to stop Poole, even when he was starting to go off and around to 60 fantasy points. Your boy in the thumbnail on Friday is one of the best thumbnail plays of the year, and one of my best plays of the year, too. It was really a good night on Friday. So for Anthony Edwards, take the shot here. I think Cleveland's defense shown some signs of weakness, at least in this little round to the All-Star break, in terms of defending these high-usage guards. Not that matters. The projection matters more than anything else the most. Lakers guys on your Underdog / FanDuel slates, I wouldn't play him. Really, the projection, these guys, nobody above 50 because LeBron and Luka going to have to figure out how the usage flows. These guys are both 30 to 35% usage rate guys. Assist rates around 40 to 50%. As a result, the ball's got to kind of get figured out where it's going to given points in games. So let's say that for LeBron and Luka, you can maybe capture an upside for one of them. Excited to see them play in real life. I think for DFS, I probably wouldn't play him anywhere you could. Tatum and Jaylen Brown were not at shoot-around with the reports this morning. You already have Drew Holiday out for this team. For Boston, where's the team total at right now? Boston versus Miami. Miami only a 5.5-point dog at home, which kind of feels like at least one of Tatum or Brown not playing. If I'd guess if they're not at shoot-around, probably both. Not a great look to not play in Miami either. Kind of weird. But anyway, for these guys, Tatum right now, not looking like a priority play. If he's out, though, a lot more opens up, including your Peyton Pritchards, including your Derek Whites, including Porzingis. They're all going to look a lot better. And right now, Porzingis looks playable. White looks playable. But if you get Tatum and Brown out or one of the two out, everything looks a lot better. Really, everybody's left in the Celtics at that point is going to play real minutes. They all become much better plays. Just because a lot of usage, obviously, leaving the line. You should know that at this point, but in case you don't, now you know. Zion Williamson. So today you're getting no McCollum, no DeJounte Murray, obviously out forever. Brandon Ingram gone off the team. There's really nothing filling in there. Bruce Brown not with the team. Kelly Olynyk not with the team. Not sure if they're giving them time off before they join the team post All-Star break, or if those guys are just not going to be on the roster. It's kind of weird to trade for guys and then not not play him, or, when you kind of need people to flesh out a roster at this point. You also know Brandon Boston, he's been in and out of the rotation, so that probably doesn't matter too much. But basically, the Pelicans getting to a point now where they're kind of down on guys. So Zion, to me, looks like a pretty strong play at 5% ownership. The issue, they're facing Oklahoma City. So they are, in fact, a 17-point dog. Does not make you feel good here, but if they hang in for 4 quarters, it's probably because Zion had a useful enough day. So him at 8,600, 5% ownership, I'll be taking that shot. 4x the field, it looks like right now, at the very least. The Jays are hitting South Beach. It's not a good showing for them, really. It's like, of all the times to go like, man, I just can't show up. I can't go today. You can't do it when you're in Miami. I feel like you got to show up. If you're hungover, whatever, have a bad game in Miami, people can laugh at you. At least play the game. It's embarrassing. Might be looking very exotic. Yes, the Eric Lindquist definition of that word. Franz Wagner, 20% for the field, 20% for me. Looks good. Looks better to me than a Paolo Banchero, but both guys, the same place they pretty much always are. But the price tags have come down enough for them. Bobby Portis, your big stand here, your man, the thumbnail. I'm getting him in 98% of my top 150 lineups right now. He's just a monster. The rates that he puts up without Giannis. I was actually watching Portis play on Friday because I had him in every single lineup, you shouldn't be surprised by if you watch the show. Basically, for Portis, he averages 1.36 fantasy points per minute, 27% usage rate, 21% rebound rate. Your only concern for Milwaukee is like if you do get Lillard out, the team at that point is getting a little bit sparse. But like Portis is just a monster, and like they looked good with Portis. Like Portis himself looks good. They're playing Golden State, who's now a little bit better, certainly, but not a team that should, I think, blow him out or anything. Again, you run the risk of it being worse if Lillard is out. And now Milwaukee is a 7-point dog at home. So you kind of think Lillard not going would be the lean here. But I think you got to take the shot at Portis, kind of like Zion, same thing. There might be big dogs. They maybe do get blown off the court. But if they don't get blown off the court, they're really important plays. And even if they do get blown off the court, Portis probably got there in like the first half. I think on Friday he had like 40 fantasy points in the first half of the game. I might be misquoting that by a little bit, but he basically had hit his number in the first half. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to do that versus this version of Golden State at this point. So Portis, to me, your chalk play of the day, but it is a big total moving against Milwaukee here at this point. Steph Curry, not getting him quite as much. Didn't give him any rate boosts, just kind of kept him and Jimmy Butler at the same usage rates. The field's at 27% Curry, according to Stokastic. I'm getting 7. So I'm low on Curry. Field loves him. Daniel Gafford getting a lot of, again, as somebody in the chat pointed out earlier, 41% of my top 150. Field's at 14%. Not really a big reason why I'm getting there, I guess. Sacramento, a nice matchup on paper in terms of the boosts, I guess, I'd be giving to Gafford. Really, the court time without Luka, without some of the other Mavs are no longer available, I think is the main thing getting me on Gafford because he has averaged over 1.3 fantasy points a minute overall in that time period. Today, I'd have him at 1.36. And, competitive total versus Sacramento, 1-point favorite are the Mavs at home. Going to be a weird fucking propaganda state in Dallas again, where they don't let you wear Fire Nico Harrison shirts and they don't let you like chant Fire Nico or whatever. Like they're really getting weird for the Mavs situation. Maybe at some point that affects the players a little bit. For today, though, a lot of Gafford, a lot of Jordan Poole I talked about earlier. These are the top projected guys. Let's sort by value right now. Data sort that range. Let's get that value. And we are going to try to go game by game here, but it'll be a fast version of it, guys, because we got a lot to talk about here. I fear Doc Rivers doing something dumb with Portis. I mean, he always can, but at this point, they just have nobody else who can kind of get a shot. Like, it's him and Kuzma if you don't get Lillard playing. And, like, Ryan Rollins, I think will defer to those guys for the most part. Gary Trent's been okay in this run lately, but, yeah, Bobby Portis, he kind of can't fuck around at this point because he's the only guy who's getting shots up. If he breaks all those shots, though, they lose, and then Portis is off the court. Jose Alvarado. So Jose Alvarado, your value play for the most part in the slate at 5K. The issue is he's not cheap, really. But he has produced pretty well in court time without your 2 lead guards. Without Murray and McCollum, he kind of fills in, becomes a version of that. Alvarado's rates in that time period probably are worth highlighting. He's averaged 1.1 fantasy points a minute, 520 possessions this year, without Ingram, without Murray, and without McCollum. But a 21% usage rate, 34% assist rate. Basically, he and Zion, who averages 42% usage and a 41% assist rate, and 1.7 fantasy points a minute. These guys become the most heightened version of themselves. So, as we always talk about here, if you're not familiar with NBA DFS, you're coming over from NFL, you see the cheap tournament today. The biggest thing in NBA DFS is like these guys are out. Some players have to then play those minutes, and then they have to absorb some amount of the points, the rebounds, the assists, the overall projected implied total there. Because you have these key guys out for New Orleans today, even if they get smoked by OKC, God forbid they hang in, like then you really probably did hit the ceiling. If they get smoked by OKC, they're still projected to play and score, in this, 100 whatever points. I think in their case tonight for New Orleans, where do we at? 109 implied points. So like you're still looking at a pretty good point total. You're looking at a better point total than I believe Charlotte has. Yeah, than Charlotte has, than Brooklyn has as a team. You're talking about even with some other teams that, kind of mediocre range, Portland at 110. So that's basically what you're looking at for New Orleans. That's why those guys should come up a good amount. As Kevin Porter gets some minutes without Lillard, he should get some. That actually would probably hurt the Ryan Rollins outlook a little bit. Porter Jr. right now in Stokastic's minutes, I believe he's at like 10 minutes or so. Playing 10 minutes. Yeah, I would guess he would right away take whatever backup point guard minutes would have gone to like formerly your Delon Wright / AJ Johnson. He probably plays like 20 to 25 minutes would be my guess, and can certainly get hot. It feels like they always kind of are willing to pull Ryan Rollins off, even though I like Rollins. I think Rollins defends well. He honestly tries to rebound. He creates assists at a pretty good rate, almost 25% rate, but he might immediately like take Ryan Rollins' role, which would be possible, I think, if he just runs hot. We'll see what he does, obviously. They traded for him for a reason, but he also alienates himself from every team for another reason. Other guys to note here in terms of value, we talked about some of the other guys, the Poole, Gafford, Kuzma. So Max Christie, I gave a pretty generous rate boost here. Since he's gone to Dallas, he basically has juked his rates in every possible way. He's at 20% usage, 20.7% actually, so almost 21. 12% rebound rate, 15.8% assist rate, and that's in 3 games. So like sample size is not enough to really trust it, but he looks like a different player from the Lakers time period. So basically what I do here, when I talk about adjusting rates, what I'll do is I'll give the guy more usage than he would have. So like Max Christie, going back to his Lakers part of the year, 14.3% usage. Basically, you bump that up to 20.7. He's then increasing by the same percentage that you're increasing that. So his points would go up that much. But he's already been like an okay shooter on the year, 61% true shooting for him. So basically the fact he's getting more usage, he's getting to show like he's a pretty efficient player underlying. So I think Max Christie you can take shots at today. I got him at 7% here compared to the field's 1. Practically, I think I'm probably going to get more today. I'm basically limited in how much Max Christie I could get because of the way Stokastic does their sim, where they're just coming off of their projection and creating 10,000 lineups. When you use my projections, which I'll use tonight, I'll get more of him today, and I think he's going to be a priority play. So I think Max Christie, and he could completely go back to the old version of himself, but I think Dallas has given him a pretty big opportunity. PJ Washington being in could throw that off a little bit, so I could be a little bit at risk there. But Washington's a projection set right now, and Christie hasn't come down for me. So I'll definitely get more than the field of Max Christie. Think he's showing something I didn't know he had in him, to be honest. Nick Smith is a Q tag right now for the Hornets because they're so low on guys in the wing at this point, not having that Dalton Connect being added in. And potentially could be out Diabate as well, which doesn't directly affect Nick Smith, but opens up more minutes. They might go small for a good portion of time. And that would also open up, keep in mind, Yusuf Nurkic is on that roster now. So the Diabate injury matters a lot for these guys. But Nick Smith at 4K, salary works well, position works well. I believe he's shooting guard, small forward, getting 38% compared to the field's 20. Jordan Poole, big stand on him again. As talked about the reasons before, just the rates go up a lot here. Becomes like a 1.3 fantasy point per guy without Kuzma and some of the other guys, Sarr and Joe Val not being out there. The issue for him, which happened in the back-to-back for Washington, Brogdon playing could sort of take minutes away from Poole. If Poole is tired playing, not playing well, they'll bring in Brogdon. So that's my risk point for Poole today. I'm along with Washington just getting smoked generally, but I like what I've seen from Poole. It was really impressed them versus Cleveland on Friday. I'm willing to go back here at a pretty good amount. Daniel Gafford, we talked about him. Pretty big stand on him. Really no particular reason. Just the price tag works, his minutes work, all that. Kuzma. So Stokastic has Kuzma being played by 76% of the field. Over the weekend, he was 3,800 in a DraftKings slate, got played a lot. The rates don't support you getting, I don't think, that much, but I am getting in 47% of my lineups. Basically, he does lose usage being in Milwaukee, does lose some rebounding upside. Actually, Might be flat in rebounding, but does lose a little bit in assist upside. There's just better players than him than there were in Washington. I mean, that includes even if Lillard's out, like you still have Bobby Portis there, who's going to be the priority play. Kuzma, I think, will look a lot better to me if you get Lillard out. If Lillard were to play today, I don't know that Kuzma is as good of a play as the 76% ownership. And honestly, even if Lillard's out, I don't think he's worth quite this much. Aaron Gordon getting a little bit over 3x the field. Damian Lillard, if he does play, getting him above the field. That's sort of it for the quote-unquote value portion of things. I don't know if he's going to crush it price. If Lillard is out, I'd say give a better shot at it. But I think if Lillard were in, I would say I would have Kuzma at about, like, I don't know, putting up 30-ish. Like, I think is a reasonable outcome for him. And it's not gonna hurt you on a slate, but like if he doesn't give you 40 and it's a super chalk, I'm not sure that he's like a must have. Let's go game by game here. I'm going to try to go super speed here because we want to get to unabated, get some bets, run the DFS lineup sim. But guys, if you get value in this video, a bunch of things you can do to show some love back. First of all, please subscribe down below with the like button, leave a comment. We're trying to get to 1K subs before the All-Star break. It's probably not going to happen at this point, to be candid. Let's get as close as we possibly can. About 65% of people watching the channel are not subscribed, and they're watching regularly, but your support goes a long way here. I'm just one guy here trying to sell partnerships to companies and whatever, while also making sure to give you guys the best data here every day. That's always my promise. The NBA is like absolute chaos this time of year, but I will still show up here, do the work, and show you exactly how I see things as of 4 o'clock every Monday to Friday. They're not this week because we're going to run out of games on Friday. Underdog, $1,000 of bonus cash. Check them out. Really great site to place your pick'ems on if you're in a non-legal betting state. Stokastic, 15% off. Promo code SPLASH on there. All their data, all their tools, and you will see their Sims tool coming up in a moment. It's how I build the lineups here that I talk about on screen and on stream, rather. And of course, Unabated, our presenting sponsor, $30 off there. Great tools, market-based projections if you want to get your bets in early. And of course, the high ROIs to give you. We're talking about legit, if you're betting $100 a unit, about 40K in winnings if you would place all the bets Unabated recommends, a 5% or higher ROI on their site. You'll see it in a moment, but it is a really great tool, and you should check it out for yourself. $30 off, link in the description. And thank you for the kind chats, guys. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Support my movement here. I want to one day perform at the Super Bowl. Just giving out NBA takes. Like it'd be me and the Drake, like our boy Kendrick Lamar did yesterday. Minnesota, 110.8 implied points here. So Minnesota getting a little bit more in the field of Anthony Edwards, assuming that he plays. A little bit low on Naz Reid. But again, if Anthony Edwards is out, Reid's going to look better. Jaden McDaniels will look better. Alexander Walker will look better. Basically, this team could change a lot if you did get Ant out and you also got Mike Conley out. As it is right now, not a priority team. You're getting some exposure here. But I'm a little bit under on pretty much everything besides Jaden McDaniels, who I think my data just thinks like, Jaden Daniels did so well in NFL. Let's play Jaden McDaniels. I think that has to be how that goes. But really getting a lot of Jaden McDaniels here relative to the field at 2%. Cleveland getting 120.3 implied points at their team total. Not getting a lot here today. Cleveland now adding DeAndre Hunter in. I'm sure the usage is going to fall, but he has been a 24% usage rate, guys. Really been the best fantasy version of himself this year with 0.97 fantasy points per minute, and those rates actually got a little bit better when guys like Jalen Johnson and et cetera are off the court. Basically, at this point, Jared Allen looks okay. 5.5% of the field. I got him at 6. These guys are all kind of expensively priced for matchup versus a tough Minnesota defense. So honestly, probably better without having a Randall out there at this point. Not a bad total for Cleveland. Should be a competitive game. So if you wanted to go to Mitchell or Garland, I guess I would get it on that perspective. But the price points don't work that well here. It's a big slate, and there's a lot better value, guys, I think you can get to. Support my movement by supporting your kids during potty training. Thank you. Just lightly cheering them on and urging at the same time. Just one guy in the DFS world trying to grab DFS by the pigtails, and Jesus, why did they always go off the rails in the back half of the chat? I know I should read them in advance. It's not my process. I know I should do that. I appreciate the sentiment, if nothing else. Even that, really, you're like my For You page. Like For You page on Twitter is like always trying to make me either conservative or horny, and which is odd that it's both those. And it's like I don't need to see again. Like give me less OnlyFans shit on that. So that's what John Daly made me feel like here. Of course, I do appreciate John Daly's presence in the chat as a regular. Atlanta, 108.3 implied points, getting Dyson Daniels almost 2x the field. Flat with the field in Okongwu, no big stands here. Tough spot versus Orlando. Losing about 7 possessions in this game. Tough defense, really not a lot to love on paper in this matchup. And Trae Young, I also projected really not well at this point, 40 fantasy points overall. Trae Young has just been, to me, a much worse fantasy asset this year, even with Jalen Johnson being out. Like he just defers It's a Dyson Daniels, which honestly is like great growth for him as a human being and a player. But for a fantasy player, you want him to be like ball hog trade. He's just not ball hog trade anymore. Orlando, 113.8 implied points. Franz Wagner, we talked about. Nice price tag at 8,500 for a guy getting about 34 minutes a game. Banchero just doesn't do enough with Jalen Suggs off the court, which is kind of odd. I don't know why Suggs would help Banchero reach his ceiling more. But Franz has kind of been the better player overall, much better shooting, better fantasy points per minute, better assist rate, a little bit less usage, but he's doing more with it. So prefer Franz today. Banchero at 8,300 is your direct pivot against Franz. They're appropriately owned, like 20% and 18. I'm low on Banchero with the field on Franz. I don't really feel like I'm missing much of Banchero here. But if you were low owned, if like the field were at 5, I think then it's like, okay, play Banchero, get some leverage on Franz. They both seem kind of appropriately owned. Let's see. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate the sentiment. And hey, right back at you. It's all grind here, but you know what? We love the content. And I actually did DM our. I don't feel like we compete, but like people might feel that way. Like Davis Maddock DM'd him today. I was like, give him some love, and also just trying to see if he wanted to do anything with NFL stuff coming up. And it's like it's nice to know like there are people out there. Like I felt like for a while, especially with NFL, I was the only one like doing work this time of year. Now there are people that do it. So like it's nice to do that for NBA. Obviously, we have people every day at the Stokastic channel in particular, which I'll be on today for the deeper dive coming up in about 30 minutes. A lot of people do the work out there, but it's different when you're by yourself, when it's all you every day. They get a lot of shit right for a one guy channel. I hope so, at the very least. San Antonio, 124.3 implied points. Washington, 113.3 implied points. I got nothing here. Low on Wemby, low on Fox. Talked about it, basically gave Fox and the entire Spurs team, the key Spurs guys, the rates they've had since the Fox addition to the lineup. As a result, you're getting more usage for Castles, but he's kind of, I don't know, a little bit expensive at 5,400. Fox at 8,300 looks okay, but not great. I'm okay not having these guys. They are playing Washington. I have a lot of the Jordan Poole side of the equation. So getting more Spurs, I have no issue with. I just am not getting it personally. We got Washington, 113.3 implied points. Jordan Poole, 55% sim ownership, 32% for the field. My big stand there. Again, eyeball test for him on Friday. Is really impressed with what he did versus a tough Cleveland team. Didn't do quite as well versus Atlanta, which maybe you want to downgrade him for that, you can. But we're not in a back-to-back anymore. He got his day's rest. I like Poole and this opportunity he has overall without Kuzma having that 1.3 fantasy points a minute today. A little bit low on Rashawn Holmes, but he's not out of the picture for me. Would love him to be out so Vukovic can get run. Vukovic is just such a little fantasy asset waiting to come out, which sounds kind of pornographic when I say it like that. But he's not there yet. These guys all look okay. If you want to fade the Poole ownership, you can play Malcolm Brogdon at 6.5% because he probably would take minutes away if for some reason they just jerk Jordan Poole around. Don't even play NBA DFS anymore, but watch the show for bets. I appreciate that. I was thinking about with the All-Star break, I might try to find a way to add in my statistical projections on here as well. Because for some of you guys with prop bets, maybe you just want to see the numbers. So something I'm thinking about here. I don't want to have like too many numbers on the screen because I think that makes people's eyes glaze over even more. But let me know if you have any suggested improvements. I'm happy to kind of think about it while we have like a week of downtime here. Where I don't get paid by Unabated to do streams, unfortunately. Boston, 111 implied points here. Getting Tatum and Brown out would be huge. As it is right now, these guys aren't very highly owned for me. Under 10% of Porzingis, still 2x the field on him. Derek White, flat the field at 6%. Horford, low on by a little bit, but these guys will look a lot better if you do get Tatum and Brown out, and that total doesn't move an insane amount. Miami on their side, nothing really to like here. Hero being out would open things up for Wiggins, making his debut, I guess. Kel'el Ware, not a great play at this point. Rotation's getting fleshed out here with the guys they're adding from the trade. Hard to tell what the rotation is going to be because we haven't seen it yet. So Miami, not a team to love. If you get Hero out, though, you can take another look. Charlotte, getting a lot of Nick Smith here, as talked about before. Getting 2x the field on LaMelo Ball, a little bit above on Miles Bridges, but nothing too crazy. Diabate looks okay. He's been playing really well with Mark Williams gone. Now you're adding Nurkic into the equation. Let's see how that goes for Diabate. Diabate, though, did miss time in the last game because of an eye injury. I think didn't come back, actually, because of the eye injury. So for him, he might be out today. And if you were out, Nurkic at 3,900 probably becomes one of the better values in the slate because they are now officially out of centers with Mark Williams also out today. How about wearing a Zeke crop top for the show? I don't think that's for me. I don't think you guys want to know. I think I'm better covered for the most part. You can see my face. My face is my strength. Wispy beard aside. We got Brooklyn, 107 implied points here. What about old man Taj? That's true. Taj is still there. I'm sure they'd prefer not to play him, but he is there available to take probably 20 or so minutes away from Nurkic. Nurkic wouldn't play 48 no matter what. But yes, they will probably put Taj in. That's a good point. Brooklyn, 107.3 implied points. Nothing for Brooklyn, really. Ben Simmons gone from the team, but nobody here looks that good, even with the rates you get without Cam Thomas, without Ben Simmons. Getting a little bit more on Keon Johnson, a little bit more on Zaire Williams. It's kind of filler plays at around 5K, but nothing really stands out too much to me. Golden State here, very low on Steph Curry for me. The guy just hasn't been that great overall. He might benefit from Butler being out there a little bit more, who can shot create for him, can screen for him, can drive and set up some openings for him as well. So that could be a thing to change. I did not change anybody's rates, though, because I think Butler's usage is probably going to be around this range. And as a result, I think Curry will be around the same. Basically, Wiggins was close enough to where Butler's stats are that I think it kind of ends up being the same. But things can move around. I'm just not sure why the field's so nuts about Steph Curry. Depleted Milwaukee team for sure. Maybe I'll get more. I don't know why I would if Lillard's out. I'm just not going to get as much of the field as Steph Curry today, and I could live with it. But he's going to be a very chalky play with a quarter of the field being there. Buddy Hield, I'm getting a lot with him being projected for 27.7 minutes. A shortened rotation at this point for Golden State, so that probably helps him out a little bit here. Not a priority play, but again, he's around $5,000, and you kind of need those guys in the lineups I'm building. Nice total for Golden State. I guess, honestly, I feel a little bit vulnerable not having Steph Curry close to the field here, but that's what I'm getting right now. Milwaukee, Damian Lillard, again, if he is out, opens up. I would imagine I would just get Portis in every lineup. The risk of a blowout does grow substantially, though, if Lillard, who was downgraded to questionable, as people mentioned in the chat earlier, played 40-plus minutes yesterday. Does that take him out? If so, can the team hang in there? I'm high on Portis, low on Kuzma, still getting a lot of these guys. Portis, to me, though, should be basically in every lineup play. I think he actually will be practically for me when I play the 40 lineups or whatever I put into the $5 tonight. Besides that, Lillard, if he plays, looks good. If he doesn't play, you probably get more Porter Jr., more Rollins. Whoever starts, you'd be the priority, I would think. But honestly, Rollins could start, and they could still go to Kevin Porter Jr. too. Rollins, to me, would be an interesting value, but you really run the risk. Like Porter Jr. could not play big minutes. Porter Jr. could take all the minutes from Rollins. He would come with a lot of risk. I don't think he's an LFG play tonight. I think he'd be a better play, and I would say you can make the case, like, if you get Lillard out to play one of Rollins or Porter Jr., but I don't think they both have a guaranteed opportunity, or one of them has a guaranteed opportunity that's higher than the other. New Orleans, 109 implied points. Got to make up some time here. Alvarado getting a lot. Zion getting 4x the field here. Getting Murphy 2x the field. Wish the total were better. Wish they weren't playing OKC, the standard Oklahoma City, ruining the opposing team and making guys not want to play thing. OKC can smoke them here, but they also have let teams hang around a little bit more lately. So I would take shots on Zion, and I will, and Alvarado today. OKC on their side, not getting a lot here. Under on pretty much everybody. Sacramento getting 2x the field. Sabonis, he's been quietly the usage winner overall, getting a rate boost since Zach LaVine has come in. LaVine at a certain point has to assert himself better, as you might have seen a viral clip of Malik Monk mocking LaVine, jokingly, for missing a lot of threes since he got traded. He's been a great shooter on the year with 63% true shooting, which for a guard who gets up a lot of threes like LaVine, that's like crazy numbers. But you're kind of seeing the negative regression for him since he's come to the Kings. At a certain point, it gets better. If it does, he probably hurts Monk and DeRozan more in these projections will tell you. But as it is right now, he's deferred a good amount in usage and really is not filling in the Fox role quite as much. It's more like Monk and DeRozan have taken a lot of that Fox role, and LaVine is playing a lesser usage, lesser assist upside role. Not that he's been a great assist guy ever, but he's like not doing Fox stuff right now. Kyrie Irving, I'm low on him today at 9K. Feels like a decent matchup for him. I don't feel great about this one. I feel like he and Steph are two blind spots I don't love in the slate. Kyrie only 7% owned by the field, though, so he's low owned. If you want to take the shot, you certainly can. Daniel Gafford getting a lot here. $7,400 salary works pretty well. This projection. I am high on Gafford, though. Really makes me a little bit uncomfortable at this much Gafford, but I don't really have an issue with it because I do generally like Gafford, averaging about 1.3 fantasy points per minute in general, with a lot of the missing Mavs, and on the year at 1.2. Portland, 110 implied points, a little bit lower on Ayton, but still 7% for the field, 7% for me, rounding up. Low on Simons here. Portland's been a good team lately, but this is a fully staffed team, fully rostered team. Everybody's available. They're all playing kind of low 30s to mid 20s minutes. I guess I did that backwards. But Portland, not a team I love today, but you certainly can get there in some amount of lineups. Denver, not a lot of Jokic today, not a lot of everything else. Getting 15%. Aaron Gordon's the biggest stand. If you get Michael Porter Jr. out, I would get a lot more Gordon, more Brown, more Murray, more Jokic. As it is right now, if Porter Jr. is in, it doesn't look fantastic. And then our FanDuel / if you're playing Underdog game, I think it's on there as well. Nothing looks great for Utah Lakers. Everybody's kind of mispriced as a result of having Luka Doncic joining, and Utah as well is just these DK late slate price tags are fucking egregious. Not a lot to love there. Or these are showdown price tags. Never mind. My bad. These were late slate price tags. That'd be insane. I had to pull the showdown because that was the only way to get them from the DraftKings lineup pool. But let's go to Unabated now. We didn't make great time on the first part of the video, but it is a lot of games, guys. So please do smash that like button here while you learn a little bit about the world of Unabated, their conditional NBA projections right now. You got expert NBA projections. Justin Fan, you know that name. He's been in a bunch of sites you like, including Underdog, including Fantasy Labs, doing their data. Now he's at Unabated, making money for all the bettors out there. Dynamic projections, keep DeJounte Murray out, rule Zion in. What you can do, and on a day like this, you're going to see an impossible amount of projection sets for all the Q-Tag players. Real-time NBA news, you don't want to be an X, you don't want to be a lib on Blue Sky. You can go to Unabated and get your alerts from Discord every day. Faster than Twitter will give it to you. Graphs, you've got graphs. You've always got graphs. People think sometimes they're walking through the sand, they only see one set of footprints. They wonder why. It turns out it's because graphs scaring you that whole time. And then you could also chat. Just don't chat dirty. You know the crowd is ready. Professional. Keep your pants on. It's not chatterbait. It's not chat roulette. Unabated though, $30 off from a good splash. Great partner for me. And despite the jokes we do during that video, it would be a great site for you to check out and use that promo code SPLASH and Unabated. Click the link down below to get taken over there. Change the world of betting. Get NBA DFS sim. Not DFS sims, rather. NBA DFS projections as well using the Unabated data if you want to do that. But you can see all of the conditional players. So we are going to not have players from these games. There's an impossible amount of Q tags, and that is that. But let's sim out what we got here from Unabated's conditional projections from teams without Q tags on it. So basically, like 2 teams we'll get bets from. Thank you. It's a classy show. Thank you, Joshua. Helpful chat. Your work in this video playing is the only reason I'm still in the NBA streets. That's good. I'm keeping people here. Keep them on the hook with gibberish. Is the goal of this channel. All right. Trying to pull in all the bets here since I'm scrolling down. Helps that out a little bit. One of the little pro tips I would give you from Unabated. A sip of water. All right, best bets right now. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope under 8.5 points, -110 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook gets you 11.4% EV. So Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, good to go on FanDuel. Could also take it on DraftKings Sportsbook and PrizePicks as well. The under 8.5 for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope looks pretty good. Onyeka Okongwu over 12.5 points, good to go at -110 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook as well. 10.7% EV. You can bet it on PrizePicks too. 7.1% EV for that one. Onyeka Okongwu over 12.5 points. Cole Anthony, 7.8% EV. And again, Unabated does say 5% or higher ROI is good to go for their bets based on the historical back testing they do, which I didn't show you guys today, but it's a really impressive graph. If you guys love graphs, that's quite the graph. But Cole Anthony here, 7%, 7.8% EV. We could take it over 11.5 points on Underdog, or the higher rather. Excuse me, for Cole Anthony, higher on Underdog. Got to say the right things. It's not the other thing. It's higher, lower on Underdog. 7.8% EV for Cole Anthony on your pickup slips on Underdog. Victor Wembanyama, 7.7% EV for under 25.5 points today. That one's on DraftKings Sportsbook. Still bettable as well in your PrizePicks and Underdog. 6.5% EV there, but you'll probably find a little bit better for under 25.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Alex Caruso under 6.5 on FanDuel, +102 odds. 7.6% EV. Corey Kispert over 12.5 points, -110 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. It's a 7.5% EV. And Jalen Williams, the primary Jalen Williams, not the center Jalen. No, that's center Jalen Williams. Yeah, center Jalen Williams, even though he's listed as a forward here. Center Jalen Williams, 7.5% EV for under 6.5 points for him. That one is the lower on Underdog. All right, rebounds coming up here. Sorry, guys, I'm a little scattershot because reading is hard. Reading is fundamental, but also difficult to do sometimes when it's that many numbers. Back testing is good for data and ladies. That's, you always find a way. Love finds a way. Robert Griffin III finds a way to make me say things that make me question saying it out loud. They're John Daly, still the winner on the day. Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, J-Dub Jalen Williams, under 4.5 rebounds for him. 23.8% EV on DraftKings on FanDuel Sportsbook, 17.1% EV on DraftKings Sportsbook. On PrizePicks, you're getting under 5, 22% EV on there. So Jalen Williams, if you get under 4.5 or under 5 rebounds, that is a good bet anywhere you could take it. Vic Krejci, under 3.5 rebounds, 17.1% EV on PrizePicks. You probably don't want anywhere else. Lou Dort, under 3.5 rebounds, plus 106 odds gets you 16% EV, according to Unabated's conditional NBA projections. And that one is on FanDuel Sportsbook, plus 106 odds for Lou Dort, under 3.5 rebounds. Walker Kessler, plus 110 odds, over 11.5 rebounds, 12.3% EV on there on DraftKings Sportsbook, not in your pick'em sites. Underdog got them all. They crossed this off like an enemies list. It's just they're all gone. Wendell Carter, 11.1% EV, under 6.5 rebounds. Good to go on PrizePicks. Chet Holmgren, under 6.5 rebounds, minus 110 odds on FanDuel. Gets you 11% EV. And Jackson Hayes, the Lakers' new only center there, because they're going to get somebody in the buyout market. But for right now, no Mark Williams. Jackson Hayes, under 6 rebounds. Good to go on PrizePicks with 10.9% EV. Let's look at assists now. Then we'll do PRAs. There's this. Click. There we go. Now that's how you click a button. That's how mom used to click a button. And now that's how I do it. Sometimes you click it and it doesn't work and you're like, oh, fuck, did it freeze? No, we're okay. We're okay. All right, pulling all the bets in here. All right, the other Jalen Williams, so not the starting star level player making all the money, the other J. Will. We got under 2.5 assists for him, 21.5% EV on PrizePicks. You're also getting 14.5% EV for J. Will, under 2.5 assists on DraftKings Sportsbook. That's minus 135 odds. So J. Will, take the under on assists anywhere you can get it. We got Isaiah Collier, under 8.5 assists. It's a really big line for Collier. Good for him. Good for Collier. Distributing the ball well. Minus 105, USC guy. Minus 105 odds on Collier on DraftKings. Gets you 10.7% EV. You can take it on PrizePicks if you need it, under 8.5 at 5% EV. John Collins, over 1.5 assists. Good to go with the lower on Underdog and PrizePicks. 7.8% EV for that. Not available on your regular sportsbooks, though, for John Collins, over 1.5 assists. Jordan Clarkson, under 3.5 assists, plus 114 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. He's 7% EV. Of course, EV expected value, win rate times win amount minus loss rate times loss amount. It's how you calculate expected value of anything in betting. That's what we're talking about here. SGA, over 5.5 assists, minus 132 odds on FanDuel, gets you 6.3% EV. And these are under 5, so we don't want these. All right, and last but not least, our PRAs. Of course, a lot more here with all the Q-Tag guys. Get 14 different projection sets. The unabated guys are working their little fingers to a nub to get you different. Do you imagine having to do 14 different fucking data sets? For anybody out there that works with data for their job, that's so many different data sets to have to do. And I know it doesn't sound like it's that impressive. That's fucking insane. You have to do that. And have to do that too. And it's like, oh, this guy get ruled in. Like, oh my God, it's the worst. I have to do projections once sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. It's hard. It's difficult work. Jalen Williams, though, again, Jalen Williams, the lesser Jalen Williams, 12.8% EV on under 14.5 PRAs. That one is on DraftKings Sportsbook. You also take the Jalen Williams under on 14.5 PRAs on PrizePicks. Get 11.4% EV on there. Domantas Sabonis, 11% EV for under 38.5 PRAs. I do like him in DFS today, but the under looks good on FanDuel Sportsbook. Also good on PrizePicks where it's under 39. A little bit less good, but still playable. For the lower on Underdog, 38.5 PRAs. Jonathan Isaac, 8.4% EV for over 10.5 PRAs for him. That one is on PrizePicks and Underdog, not available in regular sportsbooks. Wendell Carter, 6.8% EV for under 17 PRAs. That's on PrizePicks. Keon Ellis, over 11 PRAs. Good to go on PrizePicks as well. PrizePicks always the softest, 6.8% EV. Anthony Black, under 14.5 PRAs. Minus 118 odds on Underdog. The lower for 14.5 PRAs gets you 6.5% EV. Now, Yeko Kongwu, 6.4% EV for over 23.5 PRAs. That is minus 110 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, we're only scratching the surface here of the best bets you can get. The more volume you get, the better shot you have at realizing ROIs and really achieving those big gains. We talk about whether it's this tool, whether it's the odd shopper, stochastic stuff. That's what you're doing with market-based data / sim-based data. So check it out. Unabated is a great product, a great tool. FanDuel, great partner for me. Unabated.com/NBA promo code SPLASH. And go check it out. Link in the description will take you right there as well. You also get DFS projections for much cheaper too, so make sure to check that out. Contest generator here is what we're going to do on Stokastic now. Another site which you can get a little deal for yourself, 15% off that Stokastic. And I'm just chilling here. But these are the tools that I use every day. Trying to get in some tasty action. Picked up a nice 2,500 from the Drafters Playoff Best Ball for NFL yesterday, which frankly I didn't expect because I put in legit 3 entries on stream this year on Drafters. But that was pretty sick. So this is what gambling is, guys. Doing it over and over again. And sometimes you're like, wow, oh shit, I actually won money from that. Pretty cool. NBA on Friday, though, was one of the best NBA days I had. Had some legit sweats there. Just couldn't quite get where we needed to go. But had top 70 lineups. Would like that again today. I hope the same for you guys as well. Whatever you're playing today. Hope you get the outcomes you're looking for. Of course, here we're going to run Stokastic data only. The sim numbers you saw in the beginning of the video, those are all my projections overlaid in a Stokastic sim. Here you are getting just Stokastic data, so keep that in mind. It was updated a couple hours ago. Nothing has technically changed yet, so they have not updated their projections. Obviously, as we talked about enough here, shitload of Q tag, guys, so keep that in mind because that is going to be a moving target over the next few hours of your lives if you're playing NBA DFS. Let's see these top lineups get. Of course, 10,000 lineups 5,000 lineups were built, competing 10,000 times here. For NFL, it's 10,000 lineups. For NBA, 5,000 lineups because there's usually less options in general. Let us see what we get. And also be on the deeper dive for Stokastic coming up in about 10 minutes as well. So please watch that too. If you want more, you want to hear me and my pal Josh Engelman volley it back and forth. Hopefully we'll get one data update before then too, so I could run another sim, but who knows at this point. It's going to be chaos, though, once guys get ruled out. That is the name of the NBA here. A little pre-prep for tanking season, which is my favorite season of NBA DFS for the record. When you have guys that everybody just have to fill in projections and they don't know how to do it, my projections work the best in those time periods. I'm excited for when NBA teams fully give up in a couple short weeks. But your top projected lineups right now, or top ROI lineups according to Stokastic, and this is assuming that Damian Lillard does play right now. He certainly is looking likely to get ruled out. We'll see how that looks. We got Damian Lillard, Terrence Mann. So Terrence Mann getting a little bit more run for the Hawks. Still not looking too good. Kyle Kuzma, Zion Williamson, Nick Claxton, Buddy Hield, Bobby Portis, DeAndre Ayton. Number 2, we have Jordan Poole, Buddy Hield, Kyle Kuzma, Naz Reid, Onyeka Okongwu, Malik Monk, Bobby Portis, and Nick Claxton. Number 3, we have Terrence Mann. Again, I am surprised they're giving me this much Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann wasn't even the big, out of the small sample size of, rates we've had for Atlanta with the guys they traded for, which include Mann, Levert, and Yang. George Yang was the one who was a monster out there. He put up 1.3 fantasy points a minute while putting up a little bit in every category. Man is he played like shit. Man has been like shit for the last, year or so. Anyway, Terrence Mann, you're getting a lot. I really am not feeling that like Stokastic is. I got to say that out loud. Antonio Reeves getting a few minutes here because of McCollum and Murray not being available. So he's coming in, I guess. I love Antonio Reeves. I don't see it being the day for him. Unless it blows out versus OKC. Anyway, Terrence Mann, Antonio Reeves, Keyshawn George, Kuzma, Porzingis, Buddy Hield, Zion, Jokic. I like a lot of this lineup. I'm just surprised by the nonstop Terrence Mann and Antonio Reeves making it in. Jordan Poole, who I do like a lot today, Brandon Pajemski, Franz Wagner, Bobby Portis, Nick Claxton, Buddy Hield, Kyle Kuzma, Daniel Gafford. Number 5, we have Steph Curry, Terrence Mann, Franz Wagner, Kyle Kuzma, Yusuf Nurkic, Gary Trent, and Zion and Porzingis. So look, I don't feel like I'm on the same page as these lineups with my projections so far. Clean Terrence Mann feels like having diarrhea. There you go. Eagles bets and still is disappointing. Well, depends which Eagles bets you had. Fucking Jalen Hurts did not get me 2+ touchdowns. You know it did hit, though, which is the regulars of the NFL channel will tell you. DeAndre Hopkins, +650, anytime touchdown hit. That was really exciting. Got that shit right. Make-a-wish touchdowns for Super Bowl vets, or vets rather, playing in their first Super Bowl. The best bet out there. Anyway, your top ROI, guys, according to Stokastic data, Nick Claxton. What? Nick Claxton, number 1, playing a depleted center lineup for Charlotte for sure. Surprised to see that. Buddy Hield, number 2. I did like Hield in mine, so I'm glad to see him up here, I guess. Zion Williamson coming up as well. I do like Zion. Sabonis I like as well. Number 4 ROI guy. Moussa Diabate, number 5. Kristaps Porzingis, number 6. And Terrence Mann, number 7. They love Terrence Mann. $3,300 salary. He's really your only value right now. If I had to guess, if you got a better value opening up, Stokastic would probably force you on Terrence Mann less. That is way too much Terrence Mann. She found a book with Cooper DeJean. It seemed like it was only the Hard Rock in Florida that had the defensive guy props. But yeah, Cooper DeJean paid it off after I said, no way Cooper DeJean gets 2 pick sixes. I got it right. He didn't get 2. He only got 1. We got exposure, though. A lot of people out there did say Josh Sweat had a good case to be the defensive MVP or the MVP for the Super Bowl because of what he did defensively. No chance. It's always the star QB. There would have been a shot if Saquon went nuts that he got it as like, you to win the real MVP. There's no chance there's going to be any besides a QB for the most part. Your top exposed player via Stokastic's top 150 lineups, you're getting Kuzma in 95% of them. Bobby Portis at 63%. So, look, I'm getting Portis in every lineup. I feel okay with that. Kuzma, I would flip these guys personally, but you're going to get what you get. Jordan Poole, 45% compared to 32% for the field. So Jordan Poole, a pro stand. Jordan Poole, one of my favorite plays of the day, one of the splash plays that I'll talk about in a moment. Buddy Hield, 40% compared to 14, almost 3x the field on Buddy Hield. Nick Claxton, 34% compared to 7. I do not share that sentiment on Claxton. Banchero over the field on here. We talked about Franz being owned by about a fifth of the field. Stokastic getting leverage with Paolo Banchero there. And Steph Curry, 28% for Stokastic, 27% for the field. So basically flat. Highest leverage plays, Nick Claxton, Buddy Hield, Kyle Kuzma, Jordan Poole, Paolo Banchero, my boy Zion. You're getting over 2x the field with Stokastic on Zion. And Domantas Sabonis. So I agree with those. 2 good little low-owned plays. The Nick Claxton part, I am shocked by. Jose Alvarado coming in negative leverage. So they want you to get less Alvarado. Still 20% of the top 150 lineups, but not the field's 29% ownership. Zach LaVine, you're getting basically none of. The field's at 9%. Damian Lillard, they have you low on right now. I would play the shit out of him if he does go, especially after being a Q tag all day. But Lillard, Stokastic is low on. Rashawn Holmes, negative 8% leverage. So about half the field on that. Bilal Coulibaly, negative 7%. Yeah, okay. You're just low on Coulibaly. I think if you're going to try to get leverage on Poole, Coulibaly is your best play, unless, the Wizards just get blown out, which is certainly possible. De'Aaron Fox, negative 6% leverage on him, and Trey Murphy, negative 5%. You got to play Pelicans against OKC. Take the shot. They keep it competitive. But that's the slate, guys. Going to be on the deeper dive in 5 minutes, so please check that out. One last call to arms before I give you my splash plays for the day. Please subscribe down below with the like button. Would be sick to get 1K subs before the All-Star break, but if nothing else, let's get to 900. Let's get as close as we possibly can here. Trying to grow this channel, get the ads running. Looking at membership stuff as well during the All-Star break because I might be selling my projections here. I think is where I'm ready to go with it now. For, of course, the time of the year, people pay less attention to the NBA. We're going to do that, though, coming up here soon. So please subscribe with the like button. Be on board here. Hit the notification bell as well so you know whenever I go live. Underdog, $1,000 in bonus cash. Check them out. Link in the description. Promo code SPLASH. Stokastic, 15% off all their data and tools. Link in the description or use the promo code SPLASH. Unabated, same thing here. $30 off. Link in the description. Use the promo code SPLASH. And of course, guys, gamble responsibly, even though it is always money time on this channel. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play NBA. Sorry, the other one. The NFL show at Splash Play Pod. Back tomorrow, back Wednesday, back Thursday. And then we're on a little break for the All-Star break. So come hang here down the home stretch. I'll see you guys then. See you in a few minutes on Stokastic. Enjoy your days and good luck. Bye-bye. I didn't give out my splash plays. Zion, 1. Alvarado, another. Shit. Now I'm scrambling here. I was running the intro. I'm like, wait a minute. Bobby Portis, another. Max Christie, another. Jordan Poole, another. Daniel Gafford, another. Splash plays. Those guys will be in my core today. Good luck. Bye.